So I had a thought today that I really wanted to discuss, and I think it applies to a lot of people, and especially now today with finances, with the amount of information that's out there, with also the little bit of education that people get throughout their lifetime. But the main topic is going to be about the emotions and how that plays into our finances and how we see money and how we interact with it in our lives. I would say that when most people think about emotions and finances, the first thought they're going to have is that having emotions around that is a bad thing, or that they should look to eliminate them. And there are instances where that may be appropriate, where you don't want to make rash decisions or something based off of a fear that's not substantiated. But what I really think is when people hear and talk about finances, how do we learn how that impacts us and where we want to go and grow with our finances? So what I would ask you to feel is that whatever emotions do come up when you think about your personal finances or money in general, is to really think about what that is and why that is. For some people, it may be anxiety. For some, it may be a fear of doing something wrong or not knowing enough to make a correct decision, overwhelmed by the amount of resources that are out there or things to do. We're constantly being pitched new investment opportunities or buzzwords such as broadening or diversifying, or just terminology that people don't really define or know what the definition is. And that can be daunting. It really can be. And if you don't have a solid foundation or group to ask questions to, you can feel lost and not really sure what to do. So like I said, if you do feel emotions around that, I don't want it to sound like that's a bad thing. I actually think that realizing that there are emotions around it is a good thing, because that's a very easy first step to take. If you are anxious about not having enough information, well, the answer to that then is going to be some type of an education or research into what opportunities are out there. If it feels overwhelming, maybe it's simply writing things down, creating a budget, or looking at a step chart to see what the next step or the next life event will be. For some people, that's a financial roadmap. There are other platforms that have maybe 10 steps or 6 steps that you can follow. And then, of course, there's other emotions that are outside of maybe some of the personality traits, such as our ego coming into it. For our emotions, we want to have a little bit more of our ego at play, and we want to show people the money that we have, or we want to come off as a certain way of wealth that we do or don't have, but we want to outwardly portray it. And those things can be culture based, they can be our environment based, they can also stem just from our personalities in general and what we find as a priority in our own lives. So with that said, I would just ask to do a little bit of self-reflection as you get into a financial journey and you're trying to decide what steps to take and learn your left and right bounds, how to make good decisions, how to evaluate if something's a bad decision or seems like a scam. Really analyze your personality yourself and determine where you can go wrong, where you typically go wrong, and maybe when it's worth it to ask for outside help. There are a lot of places that can give guidance. Some companies' 401ks will offer financial planning as a part of the service for the retirement investing. There's other companies. I think Facet is a good one that can do it on a fee for service basis, so you're not paying a large percentage of your actually retirement or your investment accounts to that. And one of the topics that's come up recently is doom purchasing, and purchasing things with no real goal or long-term thought in mind. Is that inflation and life is just getting so difficult that I might as well spend the money now, because there's going to be no enjoyment from it in the future. And I think that's unfortunately a really pessimistic view on life in general and finances specifically. A few solid choices early on and just throughout your life can really set you up for success and bring so much freedom and flexibility through your finances, that looking at it in a more of a narrow scope like that can be very detrimental, and not something that I would recommend. Most things that have a short-term benefit are going to be more detrimental and more fleeting. They're going to be fun experiences that may come and go, but they don't have any lasting effect. And realistically, the things that we're able to delay, the gratification and postpone any type of enjoyment, those things are going to pay very large dividends in the future and really set us up for that simplicity that I think most people are going to be looking for. So if I can also make a recommendation about that, is to continue to be optimistic about your finances, no matter what your situation is. Small little steps can make very drastic changes over time. And although you may not be in the place you want to right now, you can get there. We can all get there. We have a very awesome economy, and we have lots of opportunity. So even with a few dollars out of every paycheck, we can grow to a substantial amount, which will pay off drastically in the future. Yeah, that's a short topic discussion, but I just want to emphasize the fact that finances don't need to be complicated. They can be very daunting if you don't have a solid foundation of education behind it and what all the options really are. But that's something that's not difficult to fix either. A few solid choices and educational steps can really get you very far and get you the important sections. You don't have to get into the nitty-gritty of all the investments or complex diversification schemes. There's a lot of simple things that can handle it for you. So if you'd like to look into a full financial account review, have your expenses and your incomes simplified and in a format that's very easy to digest, take a look at the platform, simplefinances.co. It's all there, and it's all very simple.